Hello everyone, this is Jeff from the Ozark Mountains in Missouri, USA. This is a quick and unscripted midweek video about refurbishing this Ultralite Industrial EPROM Eraser. I bought this piece of junk from eBay a while ago and it's never really worked that great. And it recently quit working altogether. And I looked inside and the consensus is it's a piece of crap. I spent about $15 or so to have this delivered to my door. And to give you an idea, this weighs about 10.5 ounces. This beast, I want a package of screws. This beast, on the other hand, is made in the good old US of A, and it weighs about 10.5 pounds. This is about $50 delivered to my door, and it actually works great. While the seller did package it well, a few of the screws shook loose from the bottom. They were originally through these rubber feet here, and one of the rubber feet is missing, so we'll have to replace that. And the timer kind of sticks here at about the 20-minute mark, so we'll have to take a look at that. I figure if nothing else, maybe we can grab the timer out of this piece of junk to put in here. The other thing I noticed that needs to be taken care of is the conductive foam pad that was in here is pretty deteriorated, so I picked up 3 sheets of this from Amazon. I bought some of this a while ago and I use it to plug my ICs into in my part storage bins. Let me cut in a picture here to show you how 3 sheets of this, it's about 12 by 12, show you how 3 sheets of that were shipped in what a ginormous box this is. How silly is that? Anyhow, let's dig into this guy and see what's inside. This dude's big enough that I had to back the camera up some in order to get the whole thing in the shot. I've already taken the drawer out, and you'll notice right here there is an interlock switch. So you have to have the drawer closed in order to run it. And if we flip this guy over, you can see the tube here, which is made in Japan. All the best stuff is made in Japan. Oh, there's actually a second tube back here too. So it's totally tubular. And here is where we had our 5 feet. A couple of them fell off, one ripped, and I only found 2 of them. So we might have to be a little creative with this middle one here. And let's grab a Phillips screwdriver and remove these. The company that made this, this is an older model, the company that made it is in Florida in the US, and they're actually still in business. And I emailed them to try to find a manual for this, and they were nice enough to send me a PDF, which I thought was nice. Actually, those rubber feet have, let's see if I can get here where you can see it. Go, focus. There you can kind of see it. Yeah, they've just cracked, which is where the problem came in. Okay, now I suspect we'll want to turn this back over. Maybe let's just slips right off there. Oh yeah. You can see the schmaltz from all that deteriorating foam in here. I'll take this out to the garage and blow it out with the air compressor. And in this section we have our 2 tubes. They actually look okay. There's not a lot of blackening on the ends. And the workings of it is as simple as you can get. There are a couple of transformers, a couple of starting capacitors, and a timer. And of course the interlock switch here. I took the air compressor and blew both halves out. And I rotated the timer around past 10 minutes. Right here there's text that says turn past 10, then set time. So if I take it back to just before 20, you can hear it stops. So I suspect it's just dirty in there. Maybe some contact cleaner will work if we can get that out. Let's have a look. Well, first we're going to have to take this knob off, so let's go ahead and stop the timer. That is really difficult. Well, it's off of there part of the way. There we go. Is what it looks like on the inside. It's got a little piece of metal that sets against one of the flats there. Okay, we'll set that aside. And this is a double D shaft. We've got a big nut here. Got a big nut behind the camera too. That's just one of those little sheet metal speed nut type of things. Right here, and on the other side is a nut. That is 1/4 inch, I believe. 6.35 millimeter for those of you cursed with the metric system. And I went out to the garage and got my very unloved and very dirty springy shaft nut driver. I use this thing maybe once every 3 years, but when you need to use it, it is indispensable. Okay, I'll get these nuts off here and then we'll see if we can slip that timer out of there. Okay, yeah, there we go. That came right out. This side has the black wire and this has the white wire. And the stickers on top here. So I just wrote white and black on there so we know later. Get a handy dandy flat screwdriver. I know I'm rotating this around to where you can't see it. Okay, and these are brass screws, of course. And we'll pull out the timer. And again, the sticker was that way. Well, here's our timer. I went ahead and slit the sticker right there. And even this timer is made in the USA. You don't see that too often anymore. Okay. Make sure nothing flies out of there. Looks kind of like a standard clockwork in there. From what I can tell, looking at it under the magnifier, all of these shafts that go between the two plates actually pivot right at, get my hand out of the way, right where they come through the plates. I don't see any defects in the cogs. It's slightly dusty inside, but really not bad. So I'm guessing we'll get some light oil and put a small drop on each one of these points where the shaft penetrates the plate. Okay, well, I've been sitting here yakking into the camera for like 5 minutes now and just realized it wasn't running. So I took some of this light oil and just dabbed some on each of these pivot points. Try not to over lubricate it or leave too much oil in there that's just going to collect dust. One thing I've noticed listening to this run, it does sound rather inconsistent. We'll listen to this for another 10 or 15 minutes and see if that helps. Something else I just discovered here by happenstance is that this timer piece comes off the switch piece. You can take off this paper. You can see that timer like stopping still. I've got our switch contacts. Got this bit in here, which looks like it had some grease on it originally. Okay, there we go. That way we can clean up that cam properly. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I think this will have to rotate around to stop because that's where this is at right now. Thought we would do this part out in the garage here because getting this old conductive foam off here is going to be messy. I think, oh, maybe that won't be too bad. I noticed that this corner has a slight bend to it. A good way to deal with things like that, use an adjustable wrench like that. Just give it a tweak. If you try to use, vice grips, small grips, pliers, the teeth will dig into it. But if you use something with a smooth jaw like that, you can straighten it up real nice. Okay, I cut a new piece of conductive foam, exactly the same size as the old piece, thinking that they sized it that way on purpose. And I sprayed it with some 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. I've let it tack up for a few minutes here. And I'll pop that right into place. Now in a few hours, that should be set up. Okay, and I also, cleaned this whole thing. I noticed, cleaning it, that's something I didn't notice before. There's a little plastic bit right here. And it's got like a lens there so you can see if the lamp is illuminated or not. You might be able to hear the timer clicking away. This is about the 4th or 5th time I've restarted it. It's not getting stuck anymore. And it sounds much more consistent. And the drop in lubrication on all these pivot points didn't make any difference. You might just be able to see this Sharpie mark right here. I noticed that when it stopped, the escapement was always this way. This tooth was always in and latched in with the gear. So I marked this tooth here, this one, and every time it stopped, it wouldn't stop on every revolution, but every time it stopped, this gear was in the same spot and the escapement was always like this. And I pulled this out, I put a knife under here and popped this hard plastic point out, and I was able to get the escapement out. And the escapement is shaped like this, and it rocks back and forth, and it's only held in the middle here. And over time, these two fingers or forks had squeezed in a little like this. So I was guessing that maybe that was causing it to catch on one gear tooth that was, just an ever so slightly different shape. So I took a small file and ran it about 40 times on each side like this, just very lightly, to try to get it, more parallel like this, like it should have been. And that seems to have done the trick. So it hasn't stopped. The movement sound is much smoother now. And I've cleaned the case up already. That wasn't too exciting, just a little soap and water elbow grease. Go ahead and stop that. Okay. That goes on there like that. Sticker side to sticker side. Like that. By the way, if anyone happens to know what type of an escapement that is, I would love to know. I tried to look it up, and it kind of looked like a cylindrical escapement, but not exactly. There we go. Okay. I'm going to use this screwdriver to try to zip line the washer on there, like that. There we go. Got that one started. Same type of thing here. We just put the washer on the shaft of the screwdriver. Wire's in the way. Can't see what I'm doing. Probably blocking your shot. Okay, now we gotta hook the wires back up to the timer. And I marked it W on this side and B on this side, so we know which wire goes where. Put our starters back in. Let's get this speed nut back into place now. Okay, and so the pointing part should point off. I'll just let this run for one more test. Okay, the timer still runs, so I guess we're back in business. Go ahead and reassemble it. Oh, that was almost disastrous. Could have broken a bulb. Gosh, that was lucky. I wonder if this switch has been replaced or if it had that funky bend on it from the factory. This goes in like that. Oh, that closes nice and tight now. Excellent. Okay, I think if we look right down here, we'll be able to see that it's on. Yep, I can just see that glowing right there, but I nearly forgot about the feet. Luckily I have some. I bought a whole bunch of these, which are the right size for Commodore 64s and Leica joysticks and such from the manufacturer. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this midweek unscripted and shorter refurbishment video. I am pleased as punch to have this EPROM eraser. This is a heavy-duty industrial unit and it'll last me the rest of my life. Pound for pound, this was a much better value than this piece of junk. I will tear this apart for whatever parts I can scrounge out of it rather than just skip the whole thing. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd like to take a moment to thank my Patreons for their support and also the people who have donated equipment to the Hey Birt channel. If you'd like to support the Hey Birt channel, look down below for our Patreon and Subscribe Star accounts. If you're a subscriber, thank you. I really appreciate it. If not, what the heck you waiting on? If you look down there, you'll see a rectangular subscribe button. You can mash on that guy and you too will be a subscriber. And then click on that bell-shaped icon and YouTube will be nice enough to let you know just as soon as I post a new video. Thanks. Until next time, bye.